Okay.
I think it's 6 hours. Let's see, 3 hours is Abilene. Maybe closer to 5.
Huh.
Because I know El Paso is 7.
Okay. Is it hot over there?
Not right now, actually. We've been getting a lot of rain, and so I actually spent this afternoon for like 45 minutes in ice cold pool water from all the rain.
Oh man. And we have 3 digits over here, so it's kind of hot.
We'll be there shortly. Don't worry.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. And how long have you been doing this, Michael?
I have been podcasting for technically 2.5 years.
Okay.
And the reason I say technically is in July I started a show with the co-host, and we were rushed to get on the network before Facebook did its changes to Meta. And so we kind of like winged our way through. And then in December, we looked at each other and said, we need to do better. Let's sit down, focus. What are we going to call this show for real? What are we going to make this show? And so that's why I say technically 2.5 years. Is we feel like we had 6 months of trial by fire learning. It really started in January of 2023.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so I've got to ask, and I'll probably ask it again on the show, is what is a Fortean investigator?
That is a person who investigates all things paranormal, from UFOs, ghosts, demons, shadow people, cryptids, you name it. So we do all things paranormal.
That's what I do on my show. I just never realized it was a Fortean.
See, you're a Fortean podcaster.
Didn't even know it. Put that on a resume and watch everybody go, oh, you're a Fortune 500 person?
Oh,
yeah, sure. I'll let you believe that. Sure, if it gets me the job, no problem.
That's funny.
So, I don't know how many of the episodes or if any you watched, but my interview style is very different, I think, than most. I have one question for you.
And I did watch one episode.
Okay. So the one question I have for you is, can you explain what it is that you do for people who don't know you? And then from your explanation, usually I find a few questions come up, and I may go into some other stuff other than paranormal, if that's okay, like you being a dance instructor.
Well, also too, just to get started, you can ask me how I got started, and that's a long story in itself. So, and then you can cut in there, and because it goes back to my days in military intelligence. I was a 97 Bravo intelligence analyst, and there's a UFO connection to military intelligence. So I can explain all that. How I became a paranormal investigator and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I was reading your bio, and as I was putting it together, in the back of my mind, I was thinking there's probably going to be a part 2, maybe part 3 with you, because, yeah, there's so much ground to cover, and it's like, I mean, Stonehenge, how many people can say they have investigated Stonehenge?
Or Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah,
I've been to the valley where Skinwalker Ranch is, and did experience something. Been to Area 51. I've been to 59 countries. So I've done a lot of. I've always been interested in the paranormal. So I was investigating without even realizing that I was investigating. So yeah. So I've been doing this all my life.
Yeah, so I tend to let the conversation guide where we go, and I don't like to formulate a lot of questions because I find, me personally, when I do that, I'm so focused on the questions, I'm missing what you're saying, and you could drop a huge bomb and be looking for me to go, ask me about this.
And also too, I like casual. I like casual. I like your way, Michael. So yeah, keep it up because you can go in so many directions, and it's fun that way. You know. So yeah.
And I love it when guests will say to me, "Oh, I'm so glad you asked that because I never get asked this, and it allows me to go deeper." And so I'm like, "Great, cool."
Yeah, yeah. Most
But
definitely.
yeah, so yeah, I gotta say the one thing that I was like I had to look at twice on your bio, just because I was like going, really? Was the professional dancer and dance instructor for Arthur Murray? I was like, how does that fit into this entire weird paranormal background of others dancer?
And also too, I was in Ripley's, believe it or not, for dancing 205 hours, 8.5 days for the Guinness Book of World Records. So yeah, I was for a while there a professional dancer. But I can explain when you ask me how did I become a paranormal investigator. I can explain my transition from something to dancing.
I like how you put, I can explain, like, you feel like you have to explain why you were a dancer. I'm like, no, that's not it, but it's just funny how it kind of sounds that way.
Yeah, yeah, and also too, it's like another part of my life was with comic books. I was reviewing comic books, and also too, I was interviewing comic book creators, and I interviewed people like Stan Lee and even William Shatner because William Shatner had his own comic books out. So I was doing that for a while, but that also too led me to becoming a paranormal investigator.
Wow. So, I gotta admit, that is new for me. I did not know William Shatner did comic books.
Yeah, he did, and so did Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy had his own set of comic books. William Shatner had his own set of comic books. And in fact, you can Google William Shatner comic books or Leonard Nimoy comic books.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you say that. I can see Leonard Nimoy having comic books because he did the animated series of Star Trek, and he was doing shows exposing stuff and bringing awareness to stuff. It's like, seems like, yeah, and then William Shatner, though, seemed to be doing more sci-fi, so it's like comic books just doesn't seem like it fits that.
But it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I could say with 100% certainty, I never thought I would be a podcaster, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And it's fun because you meet a lot of different people from all backgrounds, all kinds of different backgrounds and stuff like that. So yeah. And plus you're getting the information out there. So
That's my goal, and people ask me all the time, they're like, why do you do the show and have some of the guests that you have, what does it gain you? And I was like, it doesn't gain